Hello everyone. Okay, it is Cami here, and I am coming to you today to bring you a tool I'm calling a certainty checkup. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to hop on live because I didn't announce that I was going on live. So if you are here live, make sure you comment, you say hello, let me know that you're here, and let me know your level of certainty on a scale of 1 to 10 in regards to your future, in regards to your outcome, in regards to where you're going the rest of 2020 and even into 2021. Okay. And if you are new here to this group, if you're new to watching this video, my name is Cami Kennedy, and I am a mindset and life coach for perfectionists and high achievers. And I do like to give a little backstory of everything about my life in a quick snippet because a lot of people who are just tuning in, who are just finding me, they don't know anything about my story. And a lot of times they see bright colors and smiles and happiness, and they tend to think, well, good for you. You've just had a beautiful life. And of course, you have a great mindset. Okay, everything's easy for you. That is not the case at all. I grew up in a small town. My parents were divorced. My parents both got remarried, and I was in a relationship with someone for 9 years whenever I was in college and beyond. And it was a narcissistic relationship. I was with him for 9 years. He didn't want to marry me. He didn't want to say I love you, and I basically ended up being codependent in that relationship. But that actual situation stemmed from me having these disbeliefs about myself, having this uncertainty about who I was, not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough about myself. And that stemmed from my childhood. I grew up as a tomboy. I was essentially raised as a boy by my dad, and he wanted me to be a boy. So I always did the things that would get me the approval, which was act like a boy, be tough, do the hunting and the fishing things. And even I cut my hair and looked like a boy at once. And it kind of challenged me in terms of who I was and in terms of what my value was as a woman. And since I've gotten into life coaching and coaching in general, I have unpacked this unworthiness, and I've unpacked and taught body confidence, self-love, certainty, clarity, all of that within our own inner self. And the relationship with ourself is truly what transforms our life, what changes our life completely. And I also messed around with drugs, did a lot of things in my youth, got arrested, all the things. But I like to put that out there in the forefront, especially for those of you who are new, who maybe you're joining this group or you're watching this video, you come across it on YouTube or you're watching the replay. My life was not easy, okay? Let's just start there. And I want to serve you today with some certainty, kind of checking in on your certainty to see where you're going, what your direction is. But before I even dive into that, I want you to, I put a link in the comments here. I put a link in the description. I'm doing a 3-part masterclass. That is right, 3 hours of teaching. This is going to be highly, highly valuable. It is starting on October 22nd and it's going through the 24th. And for you to register for that and get all the information for completely for free, there is a link that you can sign up for. Okay, so I put that up there. So if you know that you're in, you want to develop more certainty, you want to develop more clarity and more confidence, finishing out 2020 and moving into 2021, you are going to want to be inside of that 3-part masterclass series. Okay, Melissa says arrested, never knew that. Yes, I was arrested at age 19. It involved alcohol, it involved cops, it involved a concert, and it was in college. Yeah, I'm glad, always learning new things. So here's what I want you to assess right now in terms of 2020 and the stories that we have been fed about 2020. Here's the deal. No one has escaped the challenges that 2020 has presented. It has presented challenges for everyone. It just depends on how directly affected you may have been by a lot of the things going on And it also has to do with your tools that you currently have, the way your mindset currently operates, and your ability to use your mindset tools in order to refocus on the present and the future instead of buying into everyone else's story. So I'm going to leave it at that. Yes, things have challenged us in 2020. There have been some serious things. Here's what I want to say. As we are going through this process, every single year, always, there are serious things in our lives. I've had clients who've had their parents pass away, their loved ones get sick, and they're terminally ill. And they have to go through the process of watching their parents pass away. And I can tell you, there's nothing that takes away the pain of going through something like that. On the flip side, I can also tell you, through the processes of being present, of using mindset coaching tools and strategy, and really allowing yourself to go through it all, you are able to transform yourself in the moment. You're able to transform in the future. You are able to create your own reality despite your current circumstances. And the one client that I'm speaking of, yes, that was a challenging, super challenging time in her life. However, as she reflects on it, and I've interviewed her to this as well, as she reflected on it, she said she was so grateful to be going through coaching at that time in her life because she was able to be present with her emotions. She was able to be present with her family in that season whenever there was kind of some family drama, which there always is, right? Family kind of equals drama. We don't get to choose our family, but I do believe that our family is there for us to ultimately learn and grow and heal and set boundaries and decide how we are going to show up and be responsible and certain about ourselves and who we are, regardless of family and regardless of external influences. So with that being said, as you guys are tuning in, let me know what story you have decided about on 2020 and the story that you're committing to moving forward to 2021. And if you don't have a story yet and you're not really sure, that's okay, because we are digging into certainty right now. And I'm going to give you 3 prompts. So I would advise you to use this as a journaling prompt, use it as a reflection prompt, use it during your morning meditation or your prayer, whatever mindset tools that you currently use. I'd invite you to add this in and start to reflect, because we're going into the final 3 months. We are already in to the final 3 months of the year. And I see a lot of people out there still saying, like, I can't wait till 2020 is over. But I'm telling you right now, there's no difference between December 31st, 2020 and January 1st, 2021. If you have not shifted your mindset, a single day of you going to sleep and waking up in a new year does not actually change your reality. And none of this stuff is going to be going away. What this has done throughout the whole year is brought up things that were already in us, that were already a part of us, and it elevated those, okay? So it allowed us to look at things we were already dealing with. Fear, anxiety, doubt, insecurity, all of those things were already in us, and the circumstances elevated those emotions and circumstances for us, okay? So I'm going to give you 3 thoughts today, okay? And you can journal on these thoughts and you can talk about these thoughts. Ooh, I love it. Melissa says transforming. What an amazing place to be. And transforming can be uncomfortable. It can be gritty. It can be dark. And it can also be delicious and delightful and amusing and playful. So it also is how we seek that transformation in the moment. So I'm going to give you 3 thoughts that you can use moving forward. Number 1, certainty is not a circumstance. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Certainty is not a circumstance. So what I mean is, a lot of times people are reaching for certainty, where I want to know exactly what's going to happen, and this is going to be here, and so is going to come home at this time, and tomorrow I'm going to wake up and it's going to look like this. Certainty is not a circumstance. Certainty is a feeling. Now, let me tell you why this is so exciting. We can't always change our circumstances, right? That's pretty much proven by a lot of the things that went on this year. I had a couple of my things canceled. I had a retreat that was planned to be in person. I canceled that. I transformed that into an online program, but I would have rather had that in person. It really would have been amazing to meet in person and to do that, right? And my decision at that time was I am certain about my commitment and my ability and my calling to serve people. Therefore, I'm going to transform and pivot and shift so that I can serve people online. And we will find a way to come back together in person when we can. Also, I was about to go to a big Tony Robbins event in Dallas. It was supposed to happen in July. We got shut down again. We couldn't travel. I lost some of the money for my tickets. Well, I didn't lose it, but it's basically sitting there. And we couldn't get a refund, but it's just sitting there waiting for us to use it whenever those travel restrictions are lifted. So, same thing. What did Tony Robbins do? He pivoted. He realized the government is basically controlling the fact that I can do live events. And he put $4 million into creating the largest online venue to host his main event, which is called Unleash the Power Within. And I ended up going to that in July. And we did it from the comfort of our home because he pivoted and he created a way. So what I'm telling you here is that certainty is not a circumstance. It is a feeling. And the good news about that is our thoughts create our feelings. So if you're feeling uncertain right now, whether it's finances, whether it's fear, whether it is things going on, kids, job, all of the things, you can ask yourself, what have I been thinking about? What has been my overriding thought each morning? And we have these automatic thoughts that come up in our heads. And then that creates a feeling of uncertainty, of fear, of ungroundedness, of anxiety. And I want you to ask yourself, what am I currently thinking? And just do a brain dump. What recurring thoughts come up to me? Oh, I'm worried about money. Oh, I'm worried about so-and-so's job. Oh, I'm worried about sickness. Oh, I'm worried about my health. I'm worried about my family. All of those things. And I also want you to realize, pre-pandemic, you always had a choice whether you were going to worry about your money, whether you were going to worry about your family. I know people that have a really hard time letting their children go outside to play because they might fall down and skin their knee. I also know people who are like, it's fine, let them play in the dirt, and they'll poke their eye with a stick, and they'll be okay. Both of those people have a choice as to how they're operating in the world. So again, this circumstance and all the things that have happened in 2020 has just elevated wherever you currently are on your mindset, wherever you currently are in terms of falling victim to anxiety and focusing on the fears versus what can I actually be certain about? Okay. So, number one, certainty is not a circumstance. Ask yourself, what have I been thinking? Brain dump all of those things out on paper. Number two, ask yourself, okay, now that you know your thoughts, what have I been focusing on? What have been my inputs? Am I watching the news all day long? Am I seeing all the statistics all day long? Am I tapped into these apps? Am I listening to all the politics? Whatever it is, you can identify the source of your anxiety. It's not to say put your head in the sand and ignore, but it is to realize that everyone is creating their own narrative. Even me right now, I'm creating my own narrative. The reason I'm creating my narrative in the way that I am is because it serves me. It allows me to follow my vision. It allows me to follow my values. If anything comes away of my vision and my values, that's when I create a new narrative. Because when I get overly focused on one thing, what's going to happen over here, what's going to happen over here, what's going to happen over here, it creates this whirlwind of uncertainty. And I've taken my focus off of my mission, what I am here to do. And my mission is to help people transform their mindset and transform their life. Yes, in the middle of a pandemic, yes, no matter what is going on around you, you are able to transform it through your mindset. So, number two, asking what have you been focusing on? What news outlets are you listening to? What friends are you talking to? What podcasts are you listening to? And making a commitment on what you're choosing to believe moving forward. Because we want to create certainty. So, if you want to create certainty, here are some new thoughts that you can affirm, that you can wake up, that you can say every single day, even when the circumstances around you feel like they're going haywire. I choose to believe everything is happening for me. Everything I do in my business is working. I have always been provided for, even when there's been money challenges, even when, and I'm telling you this, let me tell you my circumstances several years ago. I shut down my other business. I was owing the IRS money. I had collections calling me every single day. And I still choose to believe I am an entrepreneur. I am meant for this. I have a mission on this planet. I know that this is just a hurdle. I know that there will be money. I know that money is coming in. I know everything is working for my highest good. And I kept going and I kept moving forward and I kept attracting people and opportunities that aligned with my belief because I was certain that everything was happening for me, because I was certain that there's always a way, there's always a person, there's always a new opportunity. Because of that, I got in an amazing relationship after being in a horrible one for 9 years. I got married this year. I was featured on the news talking about vision boards. I started an academy for women. I opened up my first cohort for certifying life coaches. All this year because I believed and I was certain on my mission, vision, values, and identity. Who are you? Who are you deciding to be during this time? Because yes, just like Melissa's saying, we are all transforming. And it is our time now to decide who we are going to be moving forward. Irrespective of any circumstances, we are building a foundation of who we will be moving forward. Okay? So, number one was certainty is not a circumstance. Number two is what have you been thinking and focusing on? And I gave you a few beliefs that you can choose. We tend to think that thoughts are real and they are true. They are actually not. Let me give you an example. This is a blue cup, and I just described it verbally, saying this is a blue cup. However, my words, which is also conjuring an image and a thought of the blue cup, is not the same as the actual cup. Somebody else who's colorblind, I don't know what colorblind people can see, but I'm certain that they're going to see a different way than I do. It might look gray to them. They don't even know what blue is. So how you describe it is going to be your reality. And somebody else might say, this is a stupid cup. I hate this cup. Somebody else might say, this is the best cup ever. Whatever we speak, whatever we think creates a feeling, creates our own reality. And I want you to ask the question, what if the opposite of what I'm thinking was actually true? And then ask, is it useful? Is it serving me? Is this a useful thought to have moving forward? And then lastly, number three, certainty is energy. Certainty is energy. When we are certain, things show up for us. And I want to give you an example. And here's the other thing. It doesn't show up right away. It may not show up for years. It may be down the line. But I'm going to give you a couple examples. Nelson Mandela was jailed for many, many years. What was he certain of? He was certain that unforgiveness was actually harming him. And he was certain that forgiveness was the way forward. NFL sports teams, any sports team, if you've ever played sports, both teams go in certain that they're going to win. However, if you've ever watched a really great comeback or a really big ass whooping, you notice what happens right around halftime When one team is really ahead, that other team, you can tell by the looks on their faces, they start to not believe, they start to have doubt. And you can tell pretty much as you're watching it whether they're going to win or not. And those teams that can hold that level of certainty, it doesn't matter what the scoreboard said. It doesn't matter that we're 24-0. I'm just using football as an example because it's fun to watch those comebacks. You've seen those sports teams that hold the belief, hold the certainty, and keep showing up. And that is how they create their outcome. Because what happens is when we stop believing, when we start to get uncertain, we don't show up anymore. If we do show up, it's in this weird energy where we're uncertain. We're like, I don't know. Do you like me? Do you like my stuff? Do you want to buy it? Maybe. Am I going to get the job? Am I not? People want to be around other people who are certain. And when you have that sense of certainty, not about the outcome, not about the circumstance, but around who you are, what you believe, what you know is coming for you, that everything always works out for you, that you're never going to give up, that you're always going to keep moving forward because that's who you are, then everything eventually comes to you. I'm going to finish out and close with another story of J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter author. She decided, she was certain from a little girl at the age of 6 when she wrote her first book, I'm going to be a published author. Certain, she decided that. She went through a whole bunch of life circumstances. You can read all about that. But she was denied, rejected over and over and over and over again for her Harry Potter book. But she was certain that she was going to become a published author. And she was certain that she was going to go. She actually has a tweet that says, I was going to go until every single person said no. She was certain. And guess what that got her? Because she was going for the no, which is the thought change, right? She could have been fearful of rejection, but she said, I'm going to talk to everybody and I'm going to make everybody say no to me. And that eventually got her to a yes, because she decided she was going to be a published author. So I want to wrap up with this. I gave you a lot of tools to use today. I really highly recommend that you reflect upon this, that you journal upon this, and even in the beginning of each and every day, you create a certainty declaration. This is what I choose to believe today. This is what I'm certain about today. If you have faith, if you have belief, and you believe in God and a higher version of yourself, higher energy, source, creator, then you go to scripture. You believe that everything is happening for you. You know that everything's happening and working for your good. Or you just choose to believe that because you were born, it is your birthright to be abundant. You are certain that you're going to continue and continue and continue. You are certain of your mission. Write down everything that you're certain of every single day and let that guide your day instead of other people's stories, other people's narratives, somebody over here saying this, the news outlet saying this, because there's always opportunity for fear. And we have to choose our own certainty. Boom. Yes, certainty declaration. Melissa says she loves that. Okay, this was supposed to be a short video, so I'm going to cut it down right here because I'm going to go so deep in the next 3 days in my free course called the Clarity Course. It is called Candid Clarity Course, and there's a little play on words that I'll get into once we do that. It starts on Thursday, October 22nd. It goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If you are watching this right now or the replay, you can jot it in your calendar. It will be on the 22nd at 4 p.m., the 23rd at 4 p.m., the 24th at 9 a.m. But what you really need to do to get all the details is make sure you register using the link that I put in the description so you can get the links to where I'm going live, because I will be going live in different areas all across the internet, and you're going to want to have those links so that you can join me live and get that live coaching and training. Beautiful. Lucy says, I'm sure it'll be awesome. Awesome. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. If you're watching the replay, make sure you do #replay and let me know what you found most valuable. And I will see you later in the week inside of the free masterclass. Bye.